Hello, everybody. I'm sorry, but we've been gone for a while. It's Marco and Sophie dish out the movies. And we have been in California, and we have also been to a funeral in Kansas City. So I apologize. One of the things we couldn't help, that was the funeral, and then we had planned the California vacation for a while. So we're back and we're going to finish up our comic book movies, our Marvel comic book movies, with Guardians of the Galaxy 2
And Infinity War.
and the Avengers Infinity War. And really, it's not just the Avengers, it's all of, or a lot of the Marvel characters who've had movies lately, the last few years.
And in the comic book, they did not call it Avengers Infinity War. They
Oh.
just called it the Infinity War because it's not just the Avengers.
That's true. Sorry. Okay, well, we'll start out with Guardians of the Galaxy 2, which at the beginning it starts 20 to 30 years ago when a teenage boy and girl drive to a place out in the Missouri countryside. They get out of the car and walk to look at a special hidden tree or flower which glows and is colorful. Let's flash forward to the Guardians today. They are back together again, except for the original Groot. He is now a tiny baby that formed from a piece of the big Groot from the first movie. Right off the bat,
Really?
the Guardians are in action, helping out a group of people called the Sovereign.
We're not people.
Sparkly gold people who are better looking versions of the dead girl in the movie Goldfinger. I should say, the James Bond movie Goldfinger. As the Guardians leave, Rocket Raccoon has stolen something valuable, some batteries, from the Sovereign, and they are furious. So they go after the Guardians, not directly, but indirectly from their spaceship control center. Several of their people each sit in an individual special fighting ship pod in the control center that controls real ships on the outside, which chase after the Guardians. They're like that flying machine that the smart girl engineer drives in her lab to enable the real one in Black Panther to work in South Korea.
The smart girl.
I don't remember her name, but she's
I don't
a
either.
brilliant engineer, inventor of gadgets and other things that Black Panther uses to fight bad people and all kinds of other things. Anyway, someone or something interferes with the Sovereign and helps the Guardians escape. But not for long, as the Sovereign don't give up on their quest to retrieve their special batteries. The Guardians' getaway causes them to land on a nearby planet. But who is that mysterious person who helped them get away? Peter Quill's dad. What? I thought his father was an Earthman whose wife passed away in the hospital. Turns out Peter is the son of a very powerful alien who landed in Missouri a long time ago named Ego, who was played by Kurt Russell. And since he is so powerful, that means Peter Quill may have inherited special powers too. This is important in the whole movie because Ego needs his son's power to achieve supremacy over the rest of the galaxy. Ego's sidekick Mantis has her own powers, mainly to control time long enough to read people's minds. Meanwhile, Gamora's half-robotic mean sister has hired the Blue Man Yondu to find Peter and the gang She's an angry mechanical woman. They capture Rocket Raccoon and Baby Groot from that planet where their spaceship crashed. They had been waiting there for the rest of the gang who went with Ego to his planet. And I'll let Marco say something now.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow. Okay, so we're talking about Guardians. Oh, wait a second. Wasn't that crappy kids movie? Oh no. No, this is different. This is a lot better than that crappy kids movie the first one was. A lot of people think the first one's good. All they do in the first one is get together and fight a really generic villain. And it's not very memorable because once they get together, why would you want to see them get together again? Like, do you really just want to sit around watching the same group of people getting together and seeing them apart when you know that they're going to get together? Seems like a waste. With this movie, it's an epic adventure between a couple of groups of people, not just the Guardians. And my favorite part of the movie is actually with Yondu and Rocket escaping the ship, because I thought it was very dark and adult and action packed and hilarious at the same time. And Baby Groot too. I thought the villain in this movie was better. I don't really care. I don't really care about Nebula herself at all. Like, she's really uninterested and doesn't really. I mean, all she is like a murderous person. So there's nothing to her. And
Which one?
Nebula.
Oh.
But at least she got more. In the first one, she was kind of sidelined.
Yeah.
And again, with this movie, you got more of everything. More of the Guardians, more of Yondu, which he played a significant part in this movie. And you could probably say he's the best actor in the movie. Because he acts better than a lot of other people have acted in any Marvel movie in the past. What else can I say? Well, what do you want to say, Safi? From Safi and Marco Dish Out on the movies. What do you want to say?
Well, I agree too. The movie is action-packed from beginning to end, and is filled with many interesting ideas. Who Peter Quill's father really is, and what he wants from Peter. The revelation that Peter is really part alien, has special powers. The love Yondu has for Peter, which is more like a father's love than Ego has for him, or even the love that he got from his Earth father. And the new character Mantis, who joins the Guardians. And I agree with Marco that this is a lot better movie than the first one, which just seemed to me, the first one anyway, like an experimental kids show. I thought this sequel was a lot more grown up and had a better fleshed out story.
The humor was better too. The humor in the first one was like elementary school, preschool level actually, and the humor in the second one is like high school level at least. So, are you paying attention, Sophie?
Yeah, I am.
Do you agree with that? That the humor in the first one was preschool level, and the humor in this one is high school level?
Well, I just thought I wasn't. I mean, on one hand, the first movie was an introduction to a whole new cast of characters, which were interesting, but it seemed like a kids movie, and I didn't like that. I thought, compared to all these other ones, Iron Man and the Avengers,
Very kiddie.
it was a lot kiddie-like, more kiddie-like than those. They had a lot more grown-up stories and death and depression and sadness, and uh, this other one, the Guardians of the Galaxy 1, was a lot lighter. I mean, really light, ultra light, and it didn't seem to me that that could match up with the rest of the rest of the Marvel groups. Like even Doctor Strange. I mean, they're not children oriented. They're very grown. That's a very grown up uh, story with him and that Asian guy. So I really, so he,
Asian guy, that's all you can say?
well, I just think
His
that,
name is Wong.
okay, well, I cannot keep track of all these people. I have a hard time. I mean, it's just a lot. And I'm not used to watching. I've watched,
And do you
and by
agree?
now I've watched all
Do
these
you-
movies,
do you
thank
think-
goodness.
Do you think that Nebula is an interesting character?
Well, she doesn't really, there really isn't much about her.
Yeah.
And so
Yeah.
it's like, she's just kind of there, and she's bad because she's always got a sour look on her face, and she's like gets into trouble and does bad things. But I mean, it's very
Which she's
very
not,
superficial
she's
and
not very-
one-dimensional.
she's not very threatening either, to be honest. She looks, I mean, she's tiny. She's,
Yeah, which is funny
she's a
because
weak
the
one.
girl who plays her is very tall. She actually used to be a model, so, but she looks short, so it makes me think that that other girl must be really tall too. I don't know.
But anyway, and
Anyway.
Mantis is more interesting than her.
Yes, Mantis has a lot of
And
natural powers.
With another thing, well, a lot more useful powers. Nebula doesn't have a power. She's a robot person. That's all she is. Mantis. Oh yeah, there's recently a theory that was confirmed that Mantis is Peter's half sister, because the father said he went around and had sex with all the aliens to find out what kid could help. So Mantis was his daughter, maybe,
Oh.
possibly.
Yeah, that well,
And-
that would make sense because I wondered anyway. Mantis, what happens is Mantis is with Ego. I'm
Yeah.
like, who is this? I mean, where did he come up with her? Is that his wife? And that's what I wondered at the beginning. And so you've got to wonder, out of everybody in the universe, basically, why did he? And he's such. His name is Ego for a reason. He has tremendous ego. He wants to control the universe. And how he ends up with her, or it, or whatever you want to call it, of all the aliens in the universe. And so that really makes a lot of sense to me, what you said,
Well,
that she may be related to him.
Well, yeah. Well, that's because a fan that remember they had he had a projection of all the different alien women and him like making out, and he zoomed in on the picture, and in the picture was a mantis like alien. So that must have been the woman that and
For me, it helps to see these movies more than once to catch all these.
this guy
'Cause I don't
had to-
remember that at all.
No, this guy had to zoom into the projection. Like, you don't remember he had the models of the history.
Oh yeah,
and-
he does.
Well, that was one
Like
of the models. All those different kinds of alien women. And
Okay, yeah, you're right. I remember. I do remember that because it was kind of like a museum.
Yeah,
It was like that wax museum.
it's an easy way of showing exposition.
Yes, and well, it's visual. This is a movie, and yes, I agree. It is an easy way to show exposition without dragging down the movie with lots of lecture. Just visual. That's right.
So,
Well,
what else is there to say? Comparison to the first one?
well, I just thought I thought Chris Pratt had gained a little weight, and he seemed off his mark. And I don't know why.
No, you're talking about Infinity War.
Oh, I thought this one too.
No.
Well, okay. I'm sorry, I got confused.
She's talking about Infinity War. She thought
Yeah.
he looked fat in the movie.
I didn't think I just thought he looked heavier and like he was off his. He
I
was
just
out of
think-
sorts
I just think that it's because
at the movie itself, the way it was
Yeah.
put together. That very well could be true.
and because he's with all these other types of people and how they look, he might look weird in front of them. I don't know how to explain it, but out angling, they could be out angling him, and they look skinnier than he does naturally. I don't know. Whatever.
Well, I guess I could say something about Groot. I did not think much of the
Okay.
character in the first one. I thought it was queer, and all he could say was, "I am Groot, I am Groot, I am Groot." Couldn't say anything else.
He was really powerful though.
Yes, he was very powerful, but I just didn't care for that, and it's almost made me. I don't know. I am a mother, and I had two boys, and I watched all this kids stuff when they were kids. And, once they grow up, you get out of the kids mode, and you just don't want to watch any kids stuff. It's harder to do. I mean, when you have an incentive when you have little kids. So anyway, I didn't care for the character.
This is worse than kids stuff. I've seen kids stuff that's more intelligent than this.
Yeah. Well, anyway, so then the second one, the first one that Groot sacrificed himself, and they had a little piece of him, and that's how they come up with this little Groot character for the second movie. And he was cute, and so I don't know why. I just thought I liked him more in
And
the
he's
second
cool.
movie. And he's cool. And he saves them too. He does something
He's-
for a little tiny being.
He's the reason that they
Escape. I know.
he's the reason he is the smallest that can fit and do the bomb thing. They did a movie fights. We'll talk about that. And they said, "What's the most useless Marvel character?" They said, "Baby Groot." Like, did you even watch the second movie when he first-handedly saved everybody, and other stuff in the movie too? He helped get the fin. Okay,
Yeah.
nobody else could have gotten the fin,
Which is
Which-
Yondu's little headpiece that gives him a lot of
which
power.
again helped
Which
save
saved them.
everybody.
That's right.
So he saved everybody all by himself twice.
Right.
Twice.
Right. In the movie. So anyway, he had a lot more. Groot as a little character had a lot more impact in the storyline of the movie, I think, than in the first one. It's just I didn't respect the first one as much as I did the second one.
Yeah.
And not to say that, I mean, it's a good idea. You start off, you have a good idea, you have this group of people and all the different things, but it just wasn't, it was too shallow and kiddish. But then they came up with the second movie, and I guess they thought, oh, well, and a lot of people, it was a very popular movie, a lot of people went to see it, and I guess they made up for it, and they made it more adult, which makes sense because here they are now in this, we'll talk about the Infinity War, they're part of the whole crew to defeat the bad guy, and you can't have this group that's like a little kids style group compared to all the rest who are adults and have adult storylines. It wouldn't make any sense, so it was good they made the second one and made it more of an adult storyline and just made more of a complete story than it was in the first time, and kind of developed the characters and just did so much more with it because
So what I
it wouldn't
wanted to
match up
talk
with the
about-
rest.
I wanted to talk about Screen Junkies. That I was gonna see the second movie in theaters before the first one even, because I was just wanted to see a Marvel movie in theaters, and the Screen Junkies really hammered this movie They
Hmm.
said it's a bad movie. Well,
Really?
everybody did. They said, well, a lot of the main critics that are on that were on YouTube like that, they hammered this movie so hard, saying, "Oh, this movie's nothing but a stand-up comedy movie. There's no story. There's no drama or characters or anything. All it is comedy." And what movie did they watch? Because I watched this movie, I was so shocked at how good it was. I almost uh, wrote some nasty comments to them
Wow.
because they deterred me from watching the movie and having a good experience by giving me a negative uh, message about the movie and a false message too, saying that the movie's non-stop jokes and that none of the jokes are any funny. Talk about not funny. What about the first one? The music's better in this movie. The comedy's better. Everything's better. And ugh,
Well, that's a shame. But people always say don't pay attention to the reviews, which is funny since we're a review channel as well. But you really have to just take into account everything you hear, and take a little bit from each one, and come to your own conclusion. And if it's something that you really like or want to do, that you should just go see it no matter what. And then you can say whatever you think of it. It'll be your own view in the end. It won't be anybody else's. So, I think we should rank it or rate it now.
rank it. Okay,
Oh,
Sophie, let
no, please.
Sophie and Marco rank on the movies.
All Marco does is rank things. He's like, we go on vacation to California. He wants to rank every place we go to in terms of, yeah, all the restaurants. So which restaurant was the best and which one was the worst? And then he wants to rank all the attractions. Like we went to Ripley's and we went to Madame Tussauds and in San Francisco. And so which one is the best? And it's like, oh,
Okay,
please.
okay, it's time to rank all the hours in a day.
Oh God, that'll be
Okay,
bad. So why don't you
One
rate it?
o'clock, 2
No.
o'clock.
Why don't you rate it first?
Oh, okay, Sophie. You're trying to. We're just getting started on this movie. No, we're not.
No, we can't. We have to move on.
I'm gonna rate it, rank it, rate it, rank it, rate it. As soon as I finish talking about the fact that this movie is the best Marvel movie ever. It's better than any of the other Marvel movies by a lot because it's a complete story. There are a lot of different components so that people who like comedies, they get a lot of comedy that really works well multiple times. People who like drama can get drama out of the movie, a lot of drama. People who like action can get a lot out of the movie. It's a four quadrant movie. So I would rate it a Chinese stir fry, a really good one, and that's pretty much it. I could go through it. Chicken would be Peter Quill and Ego mixed together. I don't know how that would work. Chicken wise, maybe the two chickens uh, that made the chicken that got killed. uh, anyway, the vegetables, I would say uh, Groot is the stuff that I don't eat. So they always put cabbage in the Chinese this restaurant we use, and
Yeah.
I never eat it.
Oh,
It's
really?
watery and gross.
No, it just isn't that good.
Yeah, yeah.
We went to a Chinese restaurant in San Francisco. It was about 1,000 times better, and just puts any restaurant that is here where we live to shame. It's horrible,
Well, except for the service,
except for the service. Yeah.
which is pitiful.
Yeah.
Okay, so cabbage is Groot, just because There's so many other great components that speak. Actually, no, I'm changing it. F this. Whatever. Nebula is the cabbage because she's watery and tasteless and emotionless and
In this movie?
yeah, she's tasteless. You think she tastes good?
You're weird.
Her character is a food tastes good, Therese Sophie.
I don't know.
And so then I would say Onion is Rocket Raccoon because I love having those nice pan fried onions in my Chinese food. The carrots would be Groot because he needs to be there, and also the carrots are Drax, and the rice would be the soundtrack because it holds everything together, and the broccoli would be who haven't I mentioned? Have I mentioned? Okay.
How about Zamora?
Oh yeah. Let's mention Zamora. Okay. Oh god.
How about Peter Quill? Zamora.
No, I already did that with the chicken. I had the two chickens who made the other chicken who got killed to make the chicken for the stir fry. I guess Gamora and Gamora is the broccoli because she's green and broccoli's green. So that's a good review, right, Sophie? I didn't mention Mantis. Mantis can be the soy sauce.
Okay. All right. Well, like I said, we recently went to California. And one day for breakfast, in our hotel's breakfast buffet,
oh boy,
was this huge plate of sauteed mushrooms mixed with a little onion and spinach. And I decided, I've been having biscuits and gravy and fruit, and I decided I'll have this for breakfast. And I thought it tasted unexpectedly good, and I ate every bite. And it's not something I would even eat here, even coming back. But I asked about it, and according to the hotel staff and my daughter-in-law, Stephanie, it's a California kind of dish. A half an hour away from our hotel is a town that grows tons and tons of mushrooms, and every year they have a big mushroom festival. So I'm giving this movie a plate of sauteed mushrooms with a little onion and spinach in honor of its surprising good taste to me, and it's several different ingredients, and it tastes surprisingly good.
so
Just like the movie surprised me with its different ideas and interesting storyline.
what does each ingredient represent?
No, I'm not going to do that.
You're not gonna do that, but
Nope.
we don't know who tasted good.
The whole they
Who
work as a
tasted
team.
Bad,
They work as a team, and
who
they
tasted neutral.
they work as a team to
Defeat Thanos.
well,
No,
we're
that's a
not doing
different
that.
movie.
That's the other movie. No, but they all work as a team, and they all are like love each other. They're like almost like a family, and put
Ooh.
together a brand new family. And I thought this dish, which, like I said, that's not eating a plate of mushrooms with spinach and onions is not something I would ever normally eat here. But this California has all these. They grow tons of vegetables. They grow tons of fruit, which we cannot do here because temperature in the winter gets down to like 20 below, and it's just so they have access to more vegetables, and especially this town, which they grow tons of mushrooms. So anyway, so it surprised me to eat it. It was good. So the movie surprised me as well.
Yeah.
Okay.
So we're done with Guardians 2.
And we only have one more left.
Infinity War.
Okay.
AKA Infinity War.
I don't think it was boring, but some parts of it were almost enough to make me a little ill because
Throw up.
they went around these pathways and went zipping around, and I was starting to get sick. It was like having a motion sickness. It was like this. We went to Ripley's, believe it or not, in San Francisco, and there was a room like this. And I think wasn't the floor shaking?
Oh, there are a lot of things that were going on in that room.
And the wall had all these. It was like the movie, all these swirly swirls, and you could go through this room to get to the next room, or you could make a detour. And they even had warning signs on there if you were pregnant or if you had high blood pressure to not go in this room. And I just took one look at that. I'll be barfing by the end of it. And so I took the detour, and Marco even stepped his foot in there and started to get
I stepped
ill.
1 foot, not even 2 feet, just 1 foot, and I started getting ill.
So in this movie,
That's not what it reminded me of. That room, and I went in the room. You didn't even go in there. You
No,
don't
I
know
couldn't.
what
I
it's
knew
like.
better,
You don't know
and I
what
had
it's
not been
like,
feeling well
man.
anyway.
It reminded me a lot of the Goosebumps episode Shocker on Shock Street, when there's this the same type of thing, this room, this pathway where it's swirling around, and it's called like the Tunnel of Doom, and that's exactly what it reminded me of. It was very weird. I actually wish that there would be a Goosebumps theme park, and that they would have a ride like that. Make everybody sick.
Okay, do you want to take a break and then come back and do this next review?
Yeah,
or
we're gonna have to do Infinity War tomorrow.
Okay, so we will come back tomorrow to do this review, and then guess what, people?
It's Hitchcock month.
Yay! Which we're going to have to like speed it up because it's almost the end of June, and we had intended June to be Hitchcock month.
Well, we're gonna watch a Hitchcock movie a day next week.
Yep.
Or every
We're
other
gonna
day.
we're gonna be Hitchcocked. And I don't think I'd ever even get tired of watching a Hitchcock movie.
I could.
I don't think I can. I just love Hitchcock.
Because
It's
you
really
have
my favorite.
you have Rear Window, and
Yeah,
then you have Disturbia, and Disturbia is like 100 times better.
I don't agree. I actually like them both, and there's like they're done in two different eras in American history.
And they're both very good movies, but I think that Disturbia is a better movie, and Rear Window is a better made movie, technically.
It'd be interesting to see what Alfred Hitchcock would have thought about Disturbia.
Well, he probably would have hated it.
I don't know. You never know.
In fact, it's not even a remake, though, technically, because they never asked for the rights to Rear Window. So the people who made Rear Window sued the people who made Disturbia and said, "What are you doing?" And the people who made Disturbia said, "Oh, we're not remaking your movie because there's originally a short story that Rear Window was based on, apparently." And the people who made Disturbia said that it was actually based on the short story, not Rear Window, which is, that's bullshit. But they actually won, so.
Well, I do want to say what movies we are going to be reviewing for Alfred Hitchcock month, and they are Vertigo, Frenzy, Rope, Lifeboat, and The Man Who Knew Too Much. Okay? And I think we have to go now and be back tomorrow to do our final Marvel movie review, The Infinity War. Okay?
Infinity War.
No. All right. So, see you soon. Bye.
Bye.